So we just migrated a couple of days ago, but we had a little bit of fun before we actually went ahead and migrated. Now we went ahead and found this guy here, unshielded, no scout, and asking for trouble. So we got the scout off, and the first thing that I noticed is that I believe it was like 5 million troops or something along those lines. So I was like, well, I could phalanx check it, but does it really matter? There comes a time where even if you don't phalanx check, and depending on the target that you're hitting, even if you're completely countered, it doesn't matter. This was also a guild that was a pretty like low might guild, so we were fairly confident that he wasn't gonna get much reinforcements. So when there is no reinforcements, the actual dynamics of it changes drastically, because a whole million T4, that's a lot, and that's why a lot of times you actually need 2 rallies. The first one is mainly to try and eat as many of the reinforcements as possible and try to fill the infirmaries of the person, and then the second one is for the actual damage. So that's why a lot of times solo rallies don't work. But in a situation like this where it's just one guy in a guild that probably won't reinforce, with not enough troops to really matter if they counter you completely, that's why I went ahead and I went with ranged, because that's usually the better bet. And the reason I say that, as far as sending range first, is because even if you do run into infantry, he's not going to have much infantry to actually eat the rally or even deter the rally at all. But the second thing is that once you get to the cavalry, oh my goodness. And the other thing is that there's going to be 4 front lines ahead of them. There's going to be 2 lines of infantry and 2 lines of cavalry. And that's, of course, if you go with, I believe it's cavalry wedge. That's the one that actually would have the 4 front lines in front of your range. So that's always really good. Now, if you don't know exactly what you're going to be hitting, then infantry wedge can also work, because that is going to split the squads that you hit in 2. So again, this is why phalanxes and wedges is really important to understand them as a rally leader. So there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and put my my boost on and my gear on, and there's the first hit. We knew that was gonna burn. There's really no alternative, and there it is, infantry phalanx. So technically, like I said, I was countered, but because I went wedge, I was able to get away from the infantry as much as I could, and then dig into those ancient Drake riders fast. And I was actually pretty much able to wipe out all the infantry that was there. Now, of course, there was really nothing much left. So instead of doing another rally in this case, I felt like it was probably better to just go ahead and solo infantry. So let me go ahead and I try to put down the T3 as much as possible, because there was really not much left. So I wasn't going to take as much damage. So, of course, as much as T4 as you can add, that means the more damage that you're going to be able to do. And of course, everybody else is hitting at the same time. So there you go. Instead of a 5 miller rally, a couple of more solo attacks, and we were able to go ahead and solo this guy in pretty much just one hit. So just don't be the person that's unshielded with a 4 or 5 million troops that you cannot defend a rally with, no matter what they send. By the way, take a look at this hit here from Livingston. Ouch! 751,000 dead, minus 25 million might off of a freaking solo. That freaking hurts. Like, I've seen numbers like that before, but my goodness, I usually think it's like T1s and stuff. No, that was mainly T4. Now, this one right here, this one was funny because I started the rally and then I noticed, my energy might be a little bit full. So you know what? Not only am I going to start changing my talents while we go ahead and fill the rally, I'm going to hunt a monster, because why the hell not? It's another case of the guild kind of being a lower level guild, but this time, take a look. They're actually getting reinforcements. Now, interestingly enough, I was really just hunting this monster just to get my energy down. But this person that ported in didn't actually like care to steal the monster, or maybe they were just too preoccupied and trying to wake this person up to even care. But I didn't really care. I got me a monster. Now that my energy is low enough to not worry about it, I can go ahead and freely change from speed gear, my actual gear that I'm going to be attacking with, etc. Now in this case, I went with speed gear because obviously I'm sure that most of you already know this, but if you use speed gear, your rallies and solos and everything actually launches much quicker. It gets there quicker, and then when you swap gear to your attack gear, it actually applies it when it hits again. So it's like a two-step check, if you will. So again, we're gonna go ranged in this one, and it's another one of those things where it doesn't matter what they get. They got a reinforcements there literally right at the end, but when you have that leader, like look at their leader. Like, these are just people that are just asking to get 0. Look, 5.5 million troops, 2.3 dead on the first one. Not only that, this time we actually hit cavalry wedge, which is amazing because we actually countered them instead of the other way around. But look at that leader. Like, why? A silver witch stall? In what world is that ever a good idea? Like, sometimes I just don't understand the thought process of a lot of people, but it is what it is. I went ahead and put my anti-scout back on because now they're actually getting reinforcements, which is something that I was not expecting at first when I started this rally. But that's okay because now that we pretty much wiped out half of their troops, it doesn't really matter what they get anymore. And of course, they start sending the troops in, and a lot of times when I'm rally leading, half of the job is actually sending people back so they can send less troops so more people join, which is a good problem to have, but it's like, ugh. By the way, we're still recruiting, so if you want to join before KVK, make sure that you hit us up. And then while I wait for these freaking rallies to fill and to launch, I'm just over here popping off my my familiars because I mean, what else are you gonna do when you're waiting for all these rallies to go off? So let's take a closer look here at this rally. Of course, we hit cavalry first, but take a look. We pretty much wiped out all the cavalry and then moved on to the infantry. It would have been much better if we would have hit the cavalry and range, but of course, range is usually a stationary target. So whenever you look at phalanxes and wedges, just know that range doesn't usually move up or down. So always keep that in mind. If you have range in front, but then, or like for instance, range in the middle, and then infantry or cavalry behind them, just note that usually that infantry or cavalry are going to move up ahead of them, and that's what you're going to be hitting next, not necessarily the ranged. Unless the only way that is not how it goes down is if whatever they have in front of the range just almost instantly dies, and then your troops target the range before whatever's behind them actually comes forward. But again, this is another thing of you got to know your phalanxes, your wedges, and how they actually interact with each other, because that's very, very important. Now we got 25 seconds to go on this one. Unfortunately for this person here, they did not get any more reinforcements after the first rally. And to be honest, I don't really blame them because they can't really save the person unless they come online. And all they're going to be doing is just pretty much getting themselves wounded troops that they are going to have to heal. This person is not really reinforcing. I'm pretty sure that they just sent like a 1 troop. And everybody else is planning their solos to hit right after the rally. But unfortunately for everybody that hit after me, you got nothing, because I was able to go ahead and hit everything. There it is. Un bobo. By the way, if you don't know Spanish, un bobo, and I don't know if this is like a Spanish person or not, but un bobo, that basically means like a stupid person. And when you have that leader, well, yeah, look at that. Minus 50 million, 2.3 million dead. And the name kind of fits in this case because, I mean, I just don't understand. I always tell people, for your wall heroes, try to have a nice mix of infantry, cavalry, and range. And a lot of people are like, well, I have infantry as my front line, so I'm going to put all infantry heroes. Remember, your wall heroes are for if you're going to be like taking a rally. Your infantry is not the only troop that is going to be involved in the battle. So if that's the only thing that you up, the rest of your troops are not going to be hitting that strong. So just keep that in mind. Try to have a pretty even infantry, cavalry, and range mix in there, because it's going to be so much harder to get through. If you have army heroes, even better. Pretty much the best. But there is 2 extra hits. I actually have a couple of more war videos since we migrated that I gotta go ahead and get edited. So look out for that tomorrow. But yeah, appreciate you guys for watching, and until later, bye.